All right, let's look at another example. This example has a slightly different configuration as far as how distances are set up compared to the last example. So I'd like to demonstrate that for you. So this is driving from Anaheim to Berkeley. So Karina is driving from her home in Anaheim to Berkeley. On the same day, her brother is driving from Berkeley to Anaheim. So they decide to meet for lunch along the way in Buttonwillow. The distance from Anaheim to Berkeley is 410 miles. It takes Karina 3 hours to get to Buttonwillow, while her brother drives 4 hours to get there. Karina's average speed is 15 miles per hour slower than her brother's average speed. Find Karina's and her brother's average speeds. All right, so let's first begin by trying to draw, a picture of what it is that we're looking at. So we've got Anaheim and Berkeley. Okay, so that's going to be like our start and end points. So we have Anaheim, and then we've got Berkeley. And both Karina and her brother are going to meet halfway, or at least somewhere in between, in a town called Buttonwillow. All right, so we've got Anaheim, we've got Berkeley, and we've got Buttonwillow. So there's three different destinations here. And I don't think we have Karina's brother's name. Okay, we don't. So we just have Karina, and then we'll just say brother. And so we use, lowercase c and lowercase b um, for Karina and brother. All right, now let's look at this information that we've got. Okay, so they're meeting on the same day. They're going to meet for lunch. Okay, so this part doesn't really have much for us other than naming Anaheim, Berkeley, and Buttonwillow, and the relationships with those three towns. Okay, so the distance from Anaheim to Berkeley is 410 miles. So this total distance, let's see here, let me give myself a little bit more room. Okay, so this total distance, this total distance from Anaheim to Berkeley, all the way across, that is 410 miles. Right? So Anaheim to Berkeley is 410. It takes Karina 3 hours to get to Buttonwillow. All right, so Karina is going from Anaheim to Berkeley. So Karina is going in this direction, and her brother is going in the opposite direction that way. All right, and Karina takes 3 hours to get to Buttonwillow. So the time for Karina is 3. And it says, while her brother drives 4 hours to get there. So the time for her brother is 4 hours. All right. Karina's average speed is 15 miles per hour slower than her brother's average speed. All right. So for brother's speed, we're going to say rate brother. All right. And we don't know what that is. And then for Karina, we're going to have rate Karina. All right, so her speed is 15 miles per hour slower. So I'm going to interpret that as minus 15 than her brother's speed. So we're going to have her brother's speed minus 15. Okay, so now we want to find Karina and her brother's average speeds. So we want to find the rate of Karina and the rate of her brother. Okay. Okay. So now let's go ahead and set up our table. So we've got Karina and her brother, and we're going to have rate is in miles per hour, and time, which is in hours, and then distance, which is in miles. Okay. And so Karina's rate is her brother's rate minus 15. Um, Karina's time is 3 hours. And so the distance for Karina is 3 times the rate of her brother minus 15. So that is Karina's distance. And her, let's see, the brother's rate is just R sub B. The time it takes her brother to make his distance from Berkeley to Buttonwillow is 4. And so the distance that her brother has traveled is going to be 4 times the rate of her brother. So that's the distance her brother covered. Okay. Um, so a relationship here to notice is that if you take Karina's distance, okay, so if we take the distance of Karina, this is the distance of her brother. So if we take Karina's distance and add that to her brother's distance, that's going to equal this total distance from Anaheim to Berkeley. So what we've got is we've got the distance that Karina traveled plus the distance that her brother traveled is equal to the distance of Karina plus her brother. And the distance of Karina plus her brother is equal to 410. All right, so the distance of Karina is going to be 3 times her brother's speed minus 15 plus the distance that her brother traveled, which is 4 times the speed of her brother. And that should be equal to 410. So let's distribute. And let's see here, to get rid of this 45, we'll just add 45 to both sides. So that will cancel and add to 0. And on the right-hand side, we're going to have 455. And on the left-hand side, we've got like terms. That's going to be 7 times the rate of the brother's speed. Divide both sides by 7. And the rate of the brother's speed is 65 miles per hour. All right. And from this relationship that we had earlier, we can find Karina's speed. So we need the rate of Karina. So the rate of Karina is equal to the rate of her brother minus 15. So we can use the rate of her brother and plug that in. And so Karina's speed is 50 miles per hour. Okay, so all we need to do is write down the average speed of Karina is 50 miles per hour, and the average speed of her brother is 65 miles per hour. And we are done. Let me know if you have any questions.